Hello. I wanted to go over a topic that is of interest to me and I think is probably of interest to a lot of you, and do a quick little walkthrough. And that is nonprofits. Nonprofits are one of the fastest growing areas in terms of jobs, in terms of um, philanthropy throughout the country and internationally. So it is no surprise that events like the MS150 are growing as wildly as they do. They are not unique to organizations like the National Multiple Sclerosis Society. Um, any nonprofit is fundraising in a lot of different ways, and peer-to-peer events are hugely popular, especially for organizations that are research-based and cause-based, like MS Society, like American Heart, American Cancer, Junior Diabetes, Juvenile Diabetes, Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. All of these are structured in very similar ways. So if you've ever been a part of a ride, a walkathon, anything similar to that, or you have friends that have reached out to you and asked for you to donate to their team or their cause or their ride, this is the way these kinds of things are structured. So I thought it would be really pertinent and something that's massively popular, especially in Texas. The MS150 is one of the largest peer-to-peer fundraising events in the country. So obviously the beneficiary organization is the MS Society, which is trying to fund research to fight multiple sclerosis. So the MS150, they want you to sign up, low fundraising minimums, ride with the team, and spread the word to your family and friends of what you're doing, so that they will then become aware of what their cause is, what their mission is, the work that they're doing, and in an ideal situation, also join your team, and so that they continue to spread to their network and have that grow. Like I said, typically we'll start with a very low fundraising minimum. Cycling events are a little bit higher because they're a little more expensive and labor intensive. Something like a walkathon, they might have a minimum of $25, $50. And the further and further you go, they will happily celebrate you with a leaderboard. These types of individuals raising the leader last year, $100,000, others tens of thousands of dollars. Not typically people who are necessarily independently wealthy, but are very well connected. Maybe leadership at large organizations and large corporations who match gifts, philanthropic charitable gifts. So, which the company would then make on your behalf to the organization that you want. So, like I said, I'd like to also take a look at ways you can do a little more research into the causes that are important to you. If you're not already familiar with guidestar.org, it is a free online database that will give you all the information you need on any nonprofit. Nonprofits have to legally file a lot of information with the federal government in order to maintain their tax-free status. So visiting the site, you can pop in whoever you feel like. Right now we're talking about the MS Society. Pull up everything that would be related to that. We're going to be looking for the headquarters here, headquartered out of New York. Pull them up. You'll have a page that gives a nice overview, but a 990 is a federal document that is all of the financials and all of the background information that they are legally required to disclose. Corporations aren't, because they're not tax-free entities, but nonprofits are, and so you can really find a lot of background information on what you're looking for to really show how their money is spent. I would recommend looking at these for anyone that you're interested in supporting. We'll take a look at their most recent one, which can look daunting if you take a look right here, but I'll show you a couple of areas that are worth highlighting. So the first of which right here on the front page is always their revenue and their expenses summarized, as well as their assets from the prior year and the current year. So you can see that they're growing. MS Society, a massive organization. that has grown from $189 million to $191 million. That was from 2018 to 2019. Their latest ones have not yet been posted. It sounds like a lot of money, and it is. They're one of the largest in the country. But there's some other ways where you can see that what that really is broken down to. So let's take a look at a couple of the areas of really most interest. There's a large amount of stuff you can kind of usually skip that is really nitty gritty. But this first area that is worth taking a look at is highest paid, highest compensated employees, independent contractors, and the board of directors. So keeping in mind that nonprofits are businesses and need to be run as that. So which typically requires strong leadership, especially at something the size of this. This is a $190 million business. So expect that their top leadership will be compensated appropriately. Nonprofit doesn't mean no one makes money, but they are, you need strong leadership in place in order to further the mission as successfully as possible. So taking a look at that, you can see that their president and CEO made $553,000 with an $11,000 bonus. That was 2 years ago. So it sounds like a lot of money, and it is, but it's good to know. These other individuals right here, board of directors. Usually that is a volunteer position, one that you have to be invited to, especially in an organization this size. Large other executives from other large corporations, that it is an honor for them to serve on boards like this, so they don't get paid to do that. And then you can scroll and see any other highest paid employees. The chief financial officer, chief legal officer, executive vice president of marketing, et cetera, et cetera. And depending on how big of an organization we're looking at is how many of these individuals will have to be disclosed. Another area worth looking at is your independent contractors. So these are the other companies that this organization is doing business with. You want to make sure that these align with your values and the people that you would want to be involved with. These are all very standard type things. Direct marketing organizations, people that do their commercials, their software, Blackbaud, event companies. Nothing really raising any sort of flags. And then what I think is the most important and most interesting area to look at is what is called the statement of functional expenses. This will show you all of their total expenses and then how they're broken down within either program service expenses, management in general, or fundraising. Keeping in mind, just because something is a salary doesn't mean it is not providing back towards the program. Program expenses are anything that relate immediately to the mission and to the cause. So if we were looking at a university or to a school, a program expense would be teachers, but an administrative assistant at the office in the front desk would probably not be a program expense. It would probably be a management or general, because they're not immediately responding to the direct mission. So just because there is a large amount of salary does not mean it's not mission related. A good barometer to expect, especially for any nonprofit, is that at least 70% of their total expenses are related to the mission and to the program. That is kind of the bar that is set for a lot of organizations. And let's just see how they did. 129,066,251 divided by 181,293,702. 71.1%. Doing well, especially for an organization of this size. If that's down in the 50%, have some real questions as to where their money is being spent. So I thought that might be a nice, interesting thing to take a look at for us. Hopefully you learned something and you can utilize these tools to research nonprofits that you're interested in as well. Thank you.